All right, now let's talk about hits. Let's talk about Wynn having a chance to get himself on base by a hit rather than a walk. And I'm going to show you some examples against two different pitchers. We've got Tom Seaver again, and then we got Ray Sadecki. So Seaver a righty, Sadecki a lefty. So we're going to be looking at Wynn's card against both. All right. So the first thing you need to know about a hit check is you could use you might end up using all five dice in the event of a hit check. So we've got our five dice, and on the white and black you've got a 12. On the green and red you've got a 95, and on the pitcher die, the white die, you have a 1. So let us say that Wynn rolled this combination against Seaver. And let's look at 12. Seaver's a righty. And you see DB1, and it's in red. So you'll notice throughout the card that a number of the results are in red, and they have either SN, DB, TP, or DFH, or some combination in a few cases. SN is a single, DB is a double, TP is a triple, DFH is a deep fly hit check. We'll cover the deep flies in another video. But let's focus on the 12. DB1, so potential double for Jim Wynn against a righty or a lefty. We'll get to Sadecki in a minute, but let's say he hits it off Seaver, a righty, DB1. Okay, when you're playing under the hood, you want to look over here on the right side of the card where it says hit UTH, and you see the number 73. Okay, that is Wynn's hit number in the under the hood version of box seat baseball. And I love how Tom Downing conceived this notion of certain hitters can sometimes just have a good at bat and can hit a good pitch and get a hit. And in this case, 73 or higher on the green and red dice, red in that order, is going to be an automatic hit. Seaver may have thrown a good pitch, but Wynn just got the best of him on it. And anything 73 to 99, he's going to get a hit. And I rolled a 95. So Jim Wynn has himself a double. End of story. That's that at bat. You don't have to worry about anything with the pitcher card because Wynn just got the best of the matchup and he got his double because we rolled higher than or 73 or better on the green and red dice. Okay, now let's say we didn't roll 95. Let's say we rolled 55. 55 is not as high as 73, so it's not going to be an automatic double for Wynn. Seaver threw a real good pitch. He didn't quite get it for a double. So now this pitcher's die is going to come into play, and you're going to look at that. And you see a 1. So the 1 means you're going to go to the pitcher's card and you're going to look at in the 1 under hit rating, in the 1 row against righties, you see an NF2. So an NF2 means that Seaver blocked the hit and turned it into a fly ball. It's going to be an out, and Wynn's going to be out because Seaver got the better part of the matchup there. And so that's how a pitcher can block a hit. So if you get a higher number on the green and red, Wynn could take control of the at-bat himself and get the hit. But if you roll a lower number than 73, it's in the pitcher's hands to potentially stop the hit. And in this case, Seaver did. Now, let's say he was facing Sadecki. And a lefty on a 12 is also a potential double. And so same result on Wynn's card. Not the case in all the rows. As you can see, there's a lot of variation, but the 12 happens to have a double against a righty or a lefty. 55 is not higher than Wynn's number against a lefty, which is 90. Didn't hit lefties as well. And so you have to roll a 90 to a 99 on the green and red for it to be an automatic hit. We didn't get that. So now we go to the 1. Let's look at Sadecki's card under righties. So you can see a slash, LO2 / BTR. How you read that is if the bases are empty you use the reading on the left. And if there are runners on base, you use the reading on the right. And in this case, the bases are empty, so Sadecki blocked the hit. It turns into a line out. And then you would just use your flip card or your chart. I think Seaver turned his into an NF2. That's a fly to right field. And Sadecki turned his into a line out to first. Now, if there had been runners on, you use the result after the slash, which is BTR, which means you use the batter's result. And in this case, the batter's result's a double. Wynn got himself a double and potentially an RBI. If we look at a double one, it's hit to right field. It's in the right field gap. This is another thing I love about Box Seat is every hit, single or double, has a description of where the ball was hit in the field relative to the fielders. And so this one was hit in the right field, right center field gap. And any base runner B or better would score on that. And I'll explain base running in another video. But this is a case of where Wynn got a potential double. Sadecki, if the bases were empty, would have blocked it. But if there were runners on, he would not have blocked it. And you can see Sadecki is really good against left-handed pitchers. Hardly any hits, hardly any walks given up, but not quite as good against righties. So he's got very significant platoon splits that in this case, if there were runners on, would have cost him against Wynn. And, if you had rolled a -3 on the pitcher die, Sadecki gives up a hit in that case because it's blank. And Seaver does too because it's blank. And so regardless of what's on the green and red, if it were higher than 73 for a righty or 90 for a lefty, then it's an automatic hit for Wynn. If not, you go to the pitcher die, and in this case, the -3 would result in it being a hit because the pitcher failed to block it. Sadecki doesn't block it, Seaver doesn't block it. So that's how you resolve a hit chance. Now, this pitcher's die has a number of different notations on it that line up with the rows on the pitcher card. So you can see -3, -2, -1, 0, and 1. Those are all on this. There's also a 2 and a 3. And on this die, you have a 3E and you have a 2D. And that's going to be a function of what inning it is, whether you use the pitcher's 2 or 3 result or whether you look at the D or the E. I'll explain that in a minute. There's also an R for range, where you'll do a range check, where a fielder can take a hit away from a batter. You have an A, and then you have a B. So this 10-sided die has several numbers on it, a few letters, and then a couple letter number combinations. This becomes second nature once you play the game, but when you start out, it can be a little bit confusing. So let me try to explain what some of these functions are on the pitcher's die. So we said you roll the white and the black to get a result off the batter card, in this case, a potential double for Wynn. You roll the green and the red, and you check it against Wynn's hit number. And if it's equal to or higher than that number, it's a hit, regardless of anything on the pitcher's card. And if it's not, then you're going to look at this die. And for -3, -2, -1, 0, and 1, you're going to look at the line on the pitcher card and just check. If it's blank, it's a hit. If there's something there, it is going to potentially change the hit to something else. And you can see, what Sadecki does against lefties in particular. He's pretty dominant. Okay, now if you were to roll a 3E, this is a function of whether it's early or late in the game. Pitchers have early and late ratings. You can see Sadecki is an E early and a C late. And A is the best you can be, E is the worst you can be. So Sadecki is not very good in the first inning. That's what his early rating is all about, is how good is he in the first inning. His late rating is how good is he from the 7th inning forward. So he's average. He's a C. So if you were to roll a 3E on the pitcher die, and it were the first inning of the game, that E would trigger Sadecki that it's early and that E counts. And that means he's not going to be able to block a hit in the first inning because he's not effective in the first inning. And Wynn's going to get the double. But if it were not the first inning, then you're going to use the 3 line. And in Wynn's case, he's going to hit a foul pop-up. So this is a way that Tom has created that pitchers who are very good in the first inning or very poor in the first inning, that affects them. And then same thing with going deep into games. If they have a very good late rating, then they tend to be able to finish off games and be effective as the game goes on. And if they have a poor late rating, it means that they run out of gas pretty quickly. So the 3E and the 2D work the same way. And so, if you rolled the 2D, again, Sadecki's an E early. And E is worse than D. So this 2D in the first inning is also going to go back to the batter card because Sadecki can't block it. So in essence, his 2 and 3 lines go away in the first inning, and they just turn into hits. But if it were late in the game or in anything after the first inning, at 2D, he's going to turn that into a foul pop because you're going to use the 2. Okay, the A and the B work the opposite. So the A and the B, bring that up here. Here's an A. And if you roll an A, then you're going to check the early or late rating if it's the first inning for early or 7th, 8th, 9th, or beyond for late. And you can see Sadecki is not an A in either of those. So anytime you roll an A on the pitcher die on a hit chance, it's going to be a hit because he doesn't get it in the first inning. He doesn't get it late, and nobody gets the A in the 2nd through the 6th, with an exception of a pitcher that's throwing a dominating game. There's a way that they would get some bonuses that the A would trigger, but that's another topic for another video. But if you want to see an example of somebody who does get a benefit of an A, let's look at Jon Matlack. He is an A early. That means in the first inning, he's very good. And if Wynn were to roll that 12 and get a double chance in the first inning, and you get the 55, which is not 90 or better, then it goes to Matlack's card. And if you roll the A, he's an A early, he turns that into an out. And you're going to use what's called the special situations out chart, which I've referred to earlier, and I'll share more about that. And then same thing with the B. There's the B. If it were early, Matlack's an A. A is better than B. So he's going to get the chance. He's going to block the hit in that case as well with the B. But if it were late, Matlack's a C. So he's not going to get the benefit of the A or the B in the 7th inning or beyond because he has a late grade of C. But if you roll the 2D, C is better than D. He's still going to be able to keep his 2 line and his 3 line active in the late innings. So that's how you resolve hits in box seat baseball. And in Wynn's case, it's a very straightforward process, in part because if you look at the row and you look at the letters SP, it says SP0. That means that Wynn doesn't have any adjustments when there are runners in scoring position. And there are batters in this game who have adjustments positively and negatively when runners are in scoring position. And that affects how you look at those hit numbers, and then also how you would handle certain situations that come up on their card. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next video, is how you adjust in those situations. But this has been kind of an overview of the standard hit process for a batter and a pitcher in box seat baseball. Thanks for watching.